everyone. Ready to dive into some seriously stylish bedroom designs for your apartment.
I'm excited to get started.
We've got this amazing guide, just packed with tips and tricks to create that luxury feel even in a smaller space.
Yeah, it's incredible what you can do with some clever design choices.
One of the first things that really stood out to me was this idea of zones.
Ah, yes, zoning. It's such a game changer when it comes to designing a functional and stylish bedroom.
So it's not just about having a bed and a dresser, it's about creating distinct areas for different activities.
Right, it's about being intentional with your space
hmm
and making sure each area has a specific purpose.
The guide suggests having a dedicated sleeping space, of course, with maybe a statement bed,
hmm
and then maybe a cozy reading nook by the window and a dressing area with a full-length mirror and.
Oh, I love that. A little spot to get ready for the day.
Right. But how realistic is all of this in a typical urban apartment? I mean, we're not all working with tons of square footage.
That's a great point. You don't need a mansion to create a luxuriant feel. It's about adapting these concepts to your own space and needs.
Okay, so maybe that reading nook doesn't have to be an elaborate built-in. It could just be a comfy chair and a side table by the window.
Exactly. It's about the intention behind the space, not the square footage.
I love that. So it's more about creating those visual cues that signal a shift in activity.
Yes. And it helps to create a sense of flow and balance in the room.
Now, let's say you're someone who loves to entertain. Can you realistically incorporate a seating area for socializing into a bedroom zone?
I think you definitely could. It depends on how you envision using the space.
Right.
If you're someone who loves to have friends over, a small seating area could be a great addition.
Okay, but wouldn't a sofa or even a love seat just eat up all that precious floor space?
That's where the guide's emphasis on multifunctional furniture comes in.
Oh, yeah. The guide is full of clever ideas for making the most of every inch.
Like ottomans with hidden storage. Genius.
I know, right? Everyone needs more storage, especially in a smaller apartment.
Exactly. And it's not just about practicality. It's about finding pieces that serve multiple purposes and elevate the design.
Okay, so maybe instead of a traditional coffee table, you could have a sleek console table that doubles as a workspace.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
During the day, it's your office. Come evening, it transforms into a chic display area.
Exactly. But even a console table can take up quite a bit of room, especially if you're working with a smaller space.
True. That's why they also suggest a wall-mounted foldable desk.
Oh, that's clever. When you're not using it, it practically disappears.
Exactly. And it frees up so much floor space.
I'm always struggling with maximizing vertical space. I feel like my eyes are constantly drawn downwards in my apartment. Is there a way to combat that?
Absolutely. Think vertical storage.
Okay, so tall bookshelves?
Yes. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves can create a sense of height and grandeur.
I can picture those stylish lofts with those gorgeous, towering bookshelves. But what if you're not a bookworm?
It's not just about books. You can display art, plants, decorative objects, anything that adds personality and visual interest.
Right, so it's more about the illusion of height and using those vertical lines to create a sense of spaciousness.
Exactly, and it draws the eye upwards, making the room feel larger.
I love that. But let's talk about light for a second. Small apartments are notorious for lacking natural light. How do we deal with that?
It's the worst. But there are definitely ways to maximize the light you do have.
The guide mentions mirrors, which I know can make a room feel bigger, but I'm always afraid of overdoing it and making it look cheesy.
Mirrors can be tricky. The key is strategic placement.
Okay, so how do you use them effectively?
Place a large mirror opposite a window to bounce natural light around the room.
Oh, that makes sense. It's like creating your own sunshine.
Exactly. It brightens up the space and makes it feel more airy.
But what if you don't have a lot of windows? Can mirrors still help?
Yes. A well-placed mirror can reflect light from lamps, or even a chandelier.
It's like creating your own little light show.
Exactly. It adds depth and dimension to the space.
Now, this concept of open concept design really intrigued me. I always thought that was more for larger homes, not tiny apartments.
It might seem counterintuitive, but it can actually make a small space feel bigger.
So instead of feeling cramped, you're creating a sense of flow between the different areas.
Right. But it's important to still define those zones within the open space.
So how do you do that without walls?
The guide suggests using area rugs,
Oh, okay.
or strategically placed furniture, or even statement lighting.
So it's like creating those visual boundaries even without physical walls.
Exactly. It helps to define the different areas and create a sense of order.
Now let's talk about color for a second.
Okay?
What if you're stuck with a small, traditional bedroom? Any tips for making it feel more luxurious?
The guide recommends a light color palette.
Right, because dark colors can make a room feel smaller.
Exactly. Stick to soft whites, creams, or even pale pastels.
Okay, but wouldn't an all-white bedroom feel a bit sterile?
That's where texture and accents come in. You can add warmth and personality through textiles, artwork, and pops of color.
So it's about finding that balance between light and airy and cozy and personal.
Exactly. It's about creating a space that feels both inviting and spacious.
Now, what about furniture? Does a small space mean sacrificing a luxurious bed?
Not at all. The bed is the centerpiece of any bedroom.
Hmm.
Choose one that fits the space proportionally and invest in high-quality bedding.
So even if you can't fit a king-size bed, you can still have that sumptuous feel.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of luxury through the materials and details.
Speaking of details, what about storage? We've talked about ottomans and wall-mounted shelves, but what other clever solutions are there?
One of the best tips is to go vertical. Utilize those walls.
So tall bookshelves.
Yes. And don't forget about wall-mounted cabinets or floating shelves.
Right, those can free up so much floor space.
And they add visual interest to the walls.
I love that. But what about clothes and all that other stuff that needs to be tucked away?
Built-in wardrobes with sliding doors are a great option.
Okay, those can be really sleek and stylish.
Then they maximize storage space.
But what if you're renting and can't install built-ins?
There are plenty of freestanding wardrobe options that offer ample storage.
Right, so it's about finding those pieces that work for your specific needs and space.
Exactly. And remember, those multifunctional pieces can play a key role here too.
Like a bed with built-in drawers.
Yes. Or an ottoman with hidden storage.
It's about making those smart choices that maximize both style and functionality.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to get creative with your solutions.
Now, I want to talk about that feeling of luxury, that sense of personalization. How do we achieve that in a way that feels authentic?
The guide talks about the power of personal touches, things that reflect your unique personality and passions.
So displaying your favorite artwork.
Yes. Or family photos, travel mementos.
It's about making the bedroom a reflection of you.
Exactly. It's about creating a space that feels truly personal and inviting.
I love that. But what if you have a more minimalist style?
Minimalism is all about intentionality. Choose a few key pieces that hold meaning for you and display them prominently.
Okay, so it's not about having a lot of stuff. It's about choosing those items carefully.
Exactly. It's about quality over quantity.
I like that. So we've covered a lot of ground, from zoning and furniture to storage and personalization. What are some of the key takeaways that are standing out to you?
I think what's really resonating with me is that luxury is not about size or budget. It's about intentionality, creativity, and a deep understanding of your own personal style.
I completely agree. It's about making those thoughtful choices that reflect who you are and how you want to live.
And it's about creating a space that feels both beautiful and functional, a true sanctuary in your own home.
Beautifully said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've explored so many fantastic ideas for creating a luxurious bedroom, even in a smaller space.
And there's still so much more to discover.
Exactly. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into the world of luxury bedroom design.
I can't wait. Welcome back. We've covered so much ground already, from zoning and furniture to storage and personalization.
I know, right? It's amazing how much goes into creating a truly luxurious bedroom.
But we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much more to explore.
I'm excited to dive deeper. What's next on our agenda?
I'm really intrigued by the idea of creating a sense of peace and tranquility in the bedroom.
Oh, me too. Especially in a busy city environment, you need that sense of escape.
Absolutely. The guide emphasizes the importance of a calming color palette.
Like soft neutrals, right?
Exactly. Whites, creams, pale blues, they create a sense of serenity and calm.
But wouldn't sticking to such a limited palette make the room feel a bit boring? Like too bland?
Not at all. A neutral palette doesn't have to be boring. It's all about creating a backdrop for texture and pops of color.
Okay, so you're saying instead of bold, contrasting colors, it's more about subtle variations and playing with textures.
Exactly. Think about layering different shades of white and cream, incorporating natural materials like wood and stone, and adding pops of color through textiles and artwork.
I'm starting to get it. So, like, I could have soft gray walls with white bedding and maybe a chunky knit throw, then add some pops of dusty rose or sage green in the pillows.
Yes, and don't forget the power of natural elements. Incorporating plants, Fresh flowers, or even a small water fountain can bring a sense of tranquility and organic luxury to the space.
Right. It's like bringing the outdoors in, which can be so grounding in a city apartment.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who don't exactly have a green thumb?
Totally get it. If plants aren't your thing, you can still achieve that natural vibe with materials like wood, bamboo, or stone.
So maybe a wooden headboard, a bamboo side table, or even a stone sculpture as a decorative element.
Exactly. It's all about incorporating those natural textures and elements.
Okay, I'm loving this idea of creating a serene spa-like atmosphere. But what about the practical aspects of creating a calm and restful environment?
Well, the guide talks about the importance of minimizing clutter, which I think is crucial for any space, but especially the bedroom.
Oh, clutter is my nemesis. It's a constant battle. Any tips for winning that battle?
The guide recommends having designated storage solutions for everything so surfaces can stay clear.
Right, we talked about those storage solutions in the first part of our deep dive.
Right.
Built-in wardrobes, underbed drawers, all that good stuff.
Exactly. And remember, it's about finding a system that works for you.
So maybe using baskets or trays to corral smaller items and keep things organized.
Exactly. The guide also suggests incorporating a one in, one out rule for belongings. So for every new item that comes into the bedroom, something else has to go.
Okay, that's a great idea. It's about being mindful of what you're bringing into the space. But beyond clutter, what about other distractions that can interfere with sleep?
Oh, absolutely. The guide emphasizes the importance of minimizing noise and light pollution.
So blackout curtains to block out those street lights?
Yes, and they suggest investing in a white noise machine to mask any disruptive sounds.
Okay, those are great tips for dealing with light and sound. But what about electronics? The guide mentions keeping devices out of the bedroom.
Yeah, they're a major sleep disruptor. That blue light can really mess with your sleep cycle.
I know, but sometimes I just need to unwind with a little TV before bed. Is that a complete no-no?
You know, it's all about finding what works for you. If watching TV helps you relax, then go for it.
Okay, that's good to know. But maybe I should set a time limit and dim the screen brightness as it gets closer to bedtime.
That's a great idea. It's all about making those little adjustments that can make a big difference.
So we've talked about the practicalities of minimizing distractions, but what about creating that sense of emotional peace and comfort in the bedroom?
That's where the guide really shines. They delve into the importance of sensory details.
Okay, give me some examples. What kind of sensory details?
Think about the feeling of slipping into crisp, high-quality bedding or sinking your feet into a plush rug. It's about creating an experience that feels luxurious and indulgent.
I love that idea. The guide talks about Egyptian cotton sheets and a down comforter, but I've heard those materials can be a bit high maintenance.
They can be.
Hmm.
If you're looking for something a bit easier to care for, you can find high-quality bedding made from organic cotton or bamboo.
Oh, that's good to know. Are there any good down alternative comforters out there? I love how cozy down is, but I know it can be tricky to clean.
Definitely. There are lots of great options that provide similar warmth and comfort without the fuss.
Awesome. It's great to have those options. You know, we've been talking about sight and touch, but what about scent? I'm a big believer in aromatherapy and how certain scents can create a calming atmosphere.
Absolutely. The guide touches on the power of aromatherapy. They suggest using essential oil diffusers or scented candles.
So I could diffuse some lavender essential oil while I'm getting ready for bed. I can already feel myself relaxing just thinking about it.
Right. It's like creating your own little spa experience. And don't underestimate the power of fresh flowers. A vase of lilies or roses can really brighten up the space and add a beautiful natural fragrance.
Oh, I love that idea. It's those little touches that make such a big difference. But so far, we've mostly been talking about creating a peaceful and relaxing environment for yourself. What about couples? How can they design a bedroom that feels both tranquil and romantic?
That's where things get really interesting. The guide transitions into the realm of romantic elements.
I'm all ears. Tell me more about these romantic elements.
Well, they talk about soft lighting, luxurious bedding, and sensual textures.
Okay, we've talked about the benefits of those elements for creating a sense of calm, but how do you translate them to a more romantic atmosphere?
It's all about the intention of the details. For example, you can use dimmer switches to control the intensity of the light, creating a warm, inviting glow. And for bedding, choose fabrics like silk or satin that feel luxurious and sensual against the skin.
Oh, I see. It's about creating a more intimate and inviting atmosphere through those subtle sensory cues. Are there any other design elements that can enhance the romance factor in a bedroom?
The guide suggests incorporating elements like a fireplace, a canopy bed, or a cozy seating area.
Okay, I definitely get the fireplace. There's something so inherently romantic about a crackling fire. But what about those of us who don't have a fireplace in our bedrooms?
You can create a similar ambiance with candles. Arrange a collection of candles on a mantel or side table to create a warm, flickering glow.
Ah, yes. Candles are always a good idea. But what about the canopy bed suggestion? Aren't those a bit outdated?
Not at all. Canopy beds can add a touch of drama and romance to any bedroom, and there are plenty of modern interpretations available that feature clean lines and minimalist designs.
So it's about finding a canopy bed that complements your personal style and the overall design of your bedroom.
Exactly. And what about the seating area idea? A dedicated space for couples to connect and relax together.
I love that. But wouldn't a seating area take up valuable floor space, especially in a smaller bedroom?
That's a valid concern. But even a small seating area can make a big difference. Think about a pair of cozy armchairs tucked into a corner of the bedroom, or a small love seat positioned near a window.
Okay, I can see how that would work. It's about creating that designated space for togetherness without sacrificing too much floor area. But what about incorporating those personal touches that we talked about earlier? How can couples do that in a way that feels authentic and meaningful?
That's where the guide emphasizes the importance of incorporating personal touches that are meaningful to both partners.
Like what kind of things?
Framed photos, love letters, special gifts that represent shared experiences. It's about celebrating the couple's unique bond and creating a space that feels truly theirs.
I love that idea. It's about creating a shared sanctuary that reflects their love and their journey together. But we've been talking so much about creating a luxurious bedroom, and I'm wondering, how does that fit into the bigger picture of living a luxurious life?
That's a great question, and it's one that the guide addresses directly. They talk about the importance of sustainability in luxury design.
So it's not just about indulging in luxurious materials and experiences, but about doing so in a way that's mindful of our impact on the planet.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices that align with our values and contribute to a healthier world.
I'm totally on board with that idea, but how do we actually put that into practice when it comes to designing a bedroom?
Well, they talk about choosing natural materials like wood, bamboo, organic cotton. They also suggest looking for furniture and accessories that are made from recycled or reclaimed materials.
So it's about choosing materials that are both luxurious and sustainable. But what about supporting businesses that align with our values?
That's a huge part of sustainable living. The guide encourages readers to support companies that are committed to ethical and sustainable practices.
Right. It's about putting our money where our mouths are, so to speak, voting with our wallets. But beyond the environmental aspect, what about the social impact of our choices? Like ensuring that the people who made the things we buy are treated fairly and paid a living wage.
That's so important. Supporting fair trade practices and ensuring ethical treatment of workers is crucial. It's about recognizing that true luxury encompasses not only environmental sustainability, but social responsibility as well.
Absolutely. It's about creating a luxurious bedroom that not only looks and feels good, but also reflects our values and contributes to a better world. But let's be honest, for those of us who are just starting out on our design journeys, it can all feel a bit overwhelming. Where do we even begin?
I totally understand it can be a lot to take in, but the guide emphasizes that luxury is not a destination, it's a journey. It's about taking small steps, experimenting, and gradually creating a space that feels authentically you.
Okay, so not striving for perfection right out of the gate.
Exactly. Enjoy the process and allow your style to evolve over time.
That makes me feel so much better. But with so many options and ideas, it's hard to know where to start.
The guide suggests starting with one element that resonates with you and building from there.
So maybe I start with decluttering and organizing my nightstand. Or perhaps I finally invest in those blackout curtains I've been wanting.
Exactly. Every small change can make a big difference.
It's about taking action, even if it's just one small step at a time. And it's about remembering that luxury is not about following a set of rules, but about creating a space that reflects your unique personality and makes you feel truly at home.
So well said. And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of luxury bedroom design that the guide touches on. The idea of incorporating a sense of history and heritage into the space.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Tell me more.
Well, they talk about the beauty of antique furniture and vintage accessories. These pieces can add a sense of character and depth to a space, telling stories of the past and connecting us to a rich heritage.
I love that idea. It's not just about creating a modern and stylish space. It's about adding those layers of timelessness and history. But where do you even find these antique treasures?
The guide suggests exploring antique shops, flea markets, or even your own family attic. It's like a treasure hunt.
I love a good treasure hunt. But what if you're not into antiques or you have a more minimalist aesthetic? Can you still incorporate a sense of history without cluttering up the space?
Absolutely. You could choose a few key pieces that really speak to you and display them prominently. Or you could repurpose an antique or vintage item to give it new life.
Oh, like using an old trunk as a coffee table or hanging a vintage mirror above the bed.
Exactly. It's about being creative and thinking outside the box.
And it's about appreciating the beauty and craftsmanship of pieces that has stood the test of time.
Yes. But even if you're not drawn to antiques or vintage pieces, there are other ways to incorporate a sense of history into the design.
Oh, like what?
The guide mentions the beauty of using reclaimed materials, such as salvaged wood or vintage textiles.
So not only are you adding a touch of history, but you're also being more sustainable.
Exactly. And you can find these materials at salvage yards, architectural salvage companies, flea markets, even online.
Okay, so there are definitely resources out there, but what about using family heirlooms in the bedroom design?
The guide talks about that too. Incorporating family heirlooms or pieces that have been passed down through generations is a beautiful way to create a space that feels connected to your family history and personal heritage.
It's like surrounding yourself with pieces that tell a story. But what if you don't have any family heirlooms or you're just not that sentimental about old things?
That's totally fine. You can still achieve a similar effect by incorporating pieces that have a vintage-inspired design.
So maybe a bed frame with an ornate headboard or a rug with a traditional pattern.
Exactly. It's about evoking a sense of the past without necessarily using actual antiques.
I love that. It's about creating a space that feels layered and rich with history, but not stuffy or outdated.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance. And ultimately, it's about remembering that luxury is not about following a set of rules.
It's about creating a space that reflects your unique personality and makes you feel truly at home.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I think we've covered some really fascinating territory in this second part of our deep dive. We've talked about creating a sense of peace and tranquility, incorporating romantic elements, embracing sustainability, and adding a touch of history and heritage to the bedroom design.
It's been a great conversation, but we've only just begun to explore the depths of luxury bedroom design.
I know, right? There's still so much more to uncover.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll be exploring those all-important finishing touches.
The details that make a bedroom feel truly luxurious and complete. I can't wait. It's amazing how those finishing touches can really elevate a space. They can make it feel so much more polished and put together.
Absolutely. It's all about those thoughtful details that make a big impact.
Now, the guide really emphasizes that a truly luxurious bedroom feels personal, like it's been curated just for you. It should feel complete, not like something's missing.
I totally agree. And they talk about the power of accessorizing with purpose. It's not about just randomly throwing things into the room.
Right. It's about being intentional with every choice.
Exactly. It's about choosing pieces that complement your design scheme, add functionality, and of course reflect your personal style.
Okay, so basically it's like creating a little collection of accessories that tell a story and pull the whole look together.
Yes. And it's about finding that balance between decorative and functional accessories.
That's what I always struggle with. I tend to go a bit overboard with decorative items.
Well, the guide suggests starting with functional pieces that also happen to be stylish. So instead of a plain old trash can, maybe you opt for a really chic wastebasket, one that complements your decor.
Right, so it's beautiful and practical. I like that.
Exactly. And then you can layer in those more decorative accents like throw pillows, candles, artwork, things like that.
Okay, so start with function and then add in those personality pieces. Makes sense. But what about those statement pieces that really elevate the design? We talked about them earlier, those oversized abstract paintings, those vintage chandelier.
I know they're gorgeous, but they can be pretty pricey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are there any budget-friendly alternatives that can still make a big impact?
Definitely. They suggest considering things like a gallery wall of framed prints or a statement table lamp with a unique design. It doesn't have to be a huge investment to make a statement.
Those are great ideas. One thing I always struggle with is those awkward little nooks and crannies that you often find in smaller bedrooms. Those weird little spaces that are hard to furnish.
I know exactly what you mean. But the guide actually suggests seeing those spaces as design opportunities.
Oh, really? I usually just try to ignore them.
Well, think about it. A small alcove could be the perfect spot for a cozy reading nook, with a comfy chair and a little bookshelf.
I love that.
Or you could use a corner to create a mini dressing area with a stylish mirror and a little vanity table.
It's like turning a problem area into a stylish little feature.
Exactly. It's all about getting creative and thinking outside the box.
I need to get better at that. Speaking of creativity, let's talk about storage. We touched on this in earlier parts, but what about those of us who are naturally messy? Like, organization is not our strong suit.
Well, the guide stresses the importance of incorporating storage solutions that are both stylish and functional.
Okay, so not just shoving everything into a drawer and hoping for the best.
Exactly. They recommend using baskets, boxes, trays, to corral all those smaller items and to keep surfaces clear so you can actually see your beautiful nightstand.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say.
Exactly. And don't forget about vertical space. You can use shelves and wall-mounted organizers to maximize storage without taking up valuable floor space.
It's like a puzzle, figuring out how to fit everything in. But beyond just the practical aspects of storage, how do we create that overall luxurious vibe? That sense of comfort and elegance that makes you never want to leave your bedroom.
Well, the guide really focuses on the sensory experience.
Sensory experience. Tell me more.
It's about layering textures, playing with lighting, incorporating scents that evoke feelings of relaxation and well-being.
Oh, I love that. So it's not just about what you see, it's about how the space makes you feel.
Exactly. Think about the bedding you choose.
Hmm.
Incorporating different textures through the sheets, the blankets, the pillows.
Oh, yeah. Like combining soft, cozy fabrics with smoother materials like silk or velvet.
Yes. And then the lighting. We've talked about soft lighting before, but you can also play around with different types of lighting.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
Well, use a combination of ambient lighting, task lighting, and accent lighting.
Oh, right. That helps to highlight different areas of the room.
Exactly. And it creates a sense of depth and dimension.
Okay, so texture, lighting, what else? Didn't you mention scent?
Oh, yes. Scent is so powerful.
Definitely. So how do we incorporate that into the design?
Well, they recommend using those essential oil diffusers that we talked about earlier, or scented candles.
So calming scents like lavender or chamomile.
Yes. And don't underestimate the power of fresh flowers. A vase of flowers on your nightstand not only looks beautiful, but it adds that lovely natural fragrance to the room.
It's like bringing a little bit of the outdoors in.
Exactly. So we've got texture, lighting, scent. It's all about engaging all those senses to create a truly immersive and luxurious experience.
It's like creating your own little personal oasis.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the things that really make a space feel personal. Those special touches that make it feel like it's truly yours.
Right, like showcasing your personality.
Yes. The guide emphasizes incorporating those personal touches that have meaning for you.
So like displaying your favorite artwork.
Yes. Or family photos, travel souvenirs, you name it. Surround yourself with those things that spark joy and tell your story.
I love that. But what if you're someone who loves a minimalist aesthetic? Does that mean you have to sacrifice those personal touches?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Minimalism is all about being intentional. It's about choosing a few key pieces that hold meaning for you and letting those pieces shine.
So it's not about having a ton of stuff. It's about curating a collection of things that you truly love.
Exactly. Remember, less is often more. And sometimes a single, well-chosen object can be incredibly powerful.
It's about quality over quantity, for sure. So to wrap things up, it seems like creating a luxurious bedroom is all about finding that balance between personalization, comfort, and a sense of calm and order.
I think you nailed it. And it's about remembering that luxury is not about excess or spending a lot of money. It's about creating a space that reflects your unique personality and supports your well-being.
And it's about enjoying the journey. It's not about getting everything perfect overnight.
Exactly. It's about allowing your style to evolve and your space to change with you. It's a process, an exciting one at that.
Well, I think that brings our deep dive into luxury bedroom design to a close. We've covered so much ground in these 3 parts.
We really have. From the big picture ideas like zoning and furniture choices to those smaller details that make all the difference.
And hopefully our listeners feel inspired and empowered to create their own havens of peace, beauty, and comfort.
Absolutely. And remember, luxury is not just for the wealthy or the privileged. It's for everyone.
I love that. It's about creating a space that feels special and indulgent no matter your budget. It's about making your bedroom a true sanctuary where you can relax, recharge, and just be yourself.
Beautifully said. And until next time. May your bedrooms be filled with sweet dreams and luxurious vibes.
Sweet dreams, everyone.